This is a medic, and medic has a very important role in this game, that is to save wounded men on the battlefield. There are not many medics usually, so make sure to keep your medic safe and out of the harm's way for as long as possible. How do you save a wounded soldier? Well, usually just click on the medic and then you hover over a wounded soldier. You can kind of see the red drop of blood over him, and then you should have a kind of a red cross, as you can tell over here, over the wounded soldier. Unfortunately, these guys over here are far gone and can probably only be saved by the god. And, well, how do you move your medic? You move your medic by just clicking over with the soldier, as I showed, or you can use some of the more advanced options. If you press Shift and E, you're going to create kind of a radius. This circle, if you drop it with the left click, would allow your medic to go and save a wounded soldier in this circle. Right now, nothing is happening. There is no one wounded, so your medic will stay put. But as soon as somebody falls, he will go there and, try to pick them up. Well, why is this useful? Sometimes there are multiple wounded soldiers, so you don't really want to click far away from the map. You don't really want to zoom in to find a body or a wounded soldier, so just do this, Shift E. Other times, it's also useful if there is a front line and these guys are fighting. You want to keep your medic safe, as we said. So just going over there, finishing the job, and you can just retrieve him back would be a perfect way to keep him from getting shot. Alternatively, if you're okay with your medic being in a bit of a danger, then you can put him in a defensive position with other troops, maybe laying down or hiding behind some kind of fence or foxhole, and then whenever somebody gets injured, he will just move towards them. But as you can tell, he is the center of the circle. So circle moves with him, but it's bigger than Shift E. You use Shift W for this one. So Shift W to turn it off or Shift W to turn it on. Both actions cannot be used simultaneously. And for example, if you want to cancel this one, if it's too dangerous or you want to recast it over here, but you don't want to have it, you can just use Shift and W, and now this one cancels, and then you press Shift W again, and this one cancels, so your medic is kind of free of these active duties. If you look over here, if we press I, we can see the inventory of any soldier, including the medic. Has a pistol, a couple of rounds for the pistol, has smoke grenades. If your wounded soldier is in a bit of a pickle, and there is a lot of fighting going on, you can press F3, or you can just click over here and then just drop the smoke. You can do this with other soldiers, but be careful, especially Americans or some Finnish units have Willy P or white phosphorus, and white phosphorus can burn your own troops as well, so something to be aware of. Then you can see all of these medikits. Whenever somebody's saved or somebody uses medikits to kind of heal themselves up, they disappear. One of the ways to get those medikits back is by building a tent. Every medic can build 2 tents. You click over here with emplacement options, and then you find the medical rally point. So this one will not save men, but will provide them with extra first aid kits. After saving a wounded soldier, your medic is likely to stay prone. In order to move him elsewhere with haste or to help somebody else, you just press Control and then he will start running. Or you can double click on the wounded soldier. This will speed him up. One extra tip to keep your medic safe would be to turn off fire at will, because as we said, he only has a pistol, so he's not going to do much damage. You're just going to bring a lot of fire on himself. And then you either try to hide him behind something or lay low in the trench or a foxhole, or ideally you should hide him behind the front lines, somewhere in the bush where he cannot get seen. How to properly navigate all of your medics? Well, that's not that easy, to be honest. It's okay if you have a very small number of units. You can just go to the left and check all of them where they are and what they do. But this is not very efficient, especially if you play Conquest or you play skirmish battles when you have over 100 units at a time, and then you have artillery in different vehicles, emplacements, all the different units. Sometimes it's very difficult to keep track of your medics and where they are. Or sometimes you're gonna find a medic, but he needs to go to the other part of the map, which is, not very effective, and the wounded soldiers will probably die by the time he gets there. So in order to mitigate this, it's a matter of organization. So I usually recommend using hotkeys. For me, I have a system where I use like 1 to 4 for my medics. 1 is on the left, and the highest number is to the right. So for example, you select the medic like this, then you press shift and the number you want. For me, it's shift 1 to the left. This one would be shift 2. This guy would be shift 3. This one would be shift 4. So what is the benefit of this system? For example, I see a wounded soldier over here. I know immediately, we can imagine, if we look at the map, we can imagine the map is separated by kind of 4 stripes. And then I press number 1 because it's top left, and I just click here. Or I can do this, and he will go there. If I want to find a medic, I press like double press 3, and you immediately zoom onto him. Then maybe the guy's wounded on the north side, that's top right side for me. I press 4, and I just go this. Or there's somebody wounded over here, I press maybe 3 because he's the closest one, and I don't have it to even look. I just do this one. Very effective. If you want to turn off these notifications, you kind of want to use it for another unit, maybe for a sniper or this guy. You just click on the unit and then you press 3, and now this guy is number 3. So 2, 3, as you can tell. If you want to turn this off completely, then you just use shift and the numbers. If I press shift 1, this guy disappears. I press shift 2, disappears. 3 and 4. For as long as you hold shift but you have no selected unit, all the hotkeys will disappear, so you can reassign them elsewhere.